Alright, so let's just get onto the road. So this will be a long video. Today we're going to be reacting to Cocomelon.
My work is easy because I use
not
Quick.
just Cocomelon.
Here's how I keep track of all my tasks.
Scary true stories.
Start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority and a due date to keep things on track.
Alright.
I create custom
Store number 1. We have 3 more hours to go.
This happened when I just turned 19 and moved into my first real place. A small studio apartment on the edge of town. It wasn't much. The walls were thin, the carpet smelled faintly of bleach, and the bathroom sink whined whenever you turned the faucet. But it was mine. For the first time in my life, I had my own space. On move-in day, my landlord handed me the keys, then gave me a strange warning. Oh, and don't be too friendly.
Also, after every single story, I'll be rating of how scary it was, just like last time. Probably just like last time, if I remember correctly.
Eccentric. Big, what do you call it? Grand Theft Auto fan. Real big. I laughed it off. Eccentric neighbors were part of apartment living, right? Besides, I like Grand Theft Auto too. Maybe we'd get along. That first night, I couldn't sleep. New places always made me restless. I sat on my mattress scrolling through my phone when I heard something outside. It was the sound of water splashing. I saw the time. It was 1:30 in the morning. I got up of the night hearing a sound outside your window. It ends up being some freak or psycho stalking you. But in my case, I stumbled on pure comedy. No doubt the landlord warned me about him. What a loser, I said in my head. Charlie's Wi-Fi has more connections than he does. I might have laughed a little loud because suddenly he looked up at my window.
A little too loud. Can we turn down the volume, please? Thank you.
Seconds, neither of us moved. Then a slow, unsettling grin stretched across his face. The hose slipped from his hand, water spilling across his feet. He didn't look that funny, honestly. His skin was too pale, and his eyes were very, very frightening, like he had some condition that was beyond cure. There were no eyebrows or even a beard patch on his face, which made him look even more alien. Our stare down lasted for a minute. Then he bolted straight toward my building. I staggered back from the blinds, my heart slamming against my ribs. A moment later, pounding erupted against my door. Let me in! Charlie's voice was muffled but frantic. We should be friends! We love the same game! I froze. The pounding grew louder and faster, each slam shaking the thin wood of my door. His voice, once eager, grew sharp and manic. Open it! Open the door! We love the same game! Panic gripped me. What? I don't even know you. Just leave before I call the cops. Come on, don't be shy. You're just like me. That's why you're watching me, right? I know we're the same. Just open the door. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. Charlie was not only banging, he was literally kicking down the door. My voice cracked as I told the dispatcher someone was trying to break into my apartment. I forced my voice steady and shouted through the door. The cops are coming! Leave! The
FBI, open up.
For a moment, there was silence. Then I heard him laugh. It was as if he...
FBI, open up!
He found something funny that I didn't understand. I could still see his shadow beneath my door. He was just standing there, not moving. Minutes passed. He didn't knock again, didn't say a word, just stood there. And then, quietly, he walked away. When the cops arrived, he was gone. One officer pointed at my door with a serious face. What I saw gave me goosebumps. There were stains of blood on my door. Not just that, an uprooted human nail was stuck on the hardwood. Charlie tried so hard to get in that he didn't care he was hurting himself. The cops checked the property, took my statement, and told me to lock my windows and doors. I nodded, pretending I'd feel safer knowing that, but I didn't. There was no proof that it was Charlie since our building had no security camera. The cops couldn't press any charges on him. They even went to his house to talk to him, but no one answered. By the morning, I began to think that perhaps I had overreacted. Maybe he was just lonely. But then I opened my door and found a pair of dirty men's underwear, crumpled, stained, and left on my door.
You don't want to see that on your front yard, do you? I mean, in the front door, do you?
And locked it again. I don't know if he left it as a joke or a warning or some twisted gesture of friendship. I didn't want to know. That was the final straw. I packed up that same day and called my landlord. Told him I was breaking the lease. He didn't argue. I knew he knew exactly why. Feet slapping against the pavement as he ran toward me, his fists hammering on my door like he could break through at any second. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't called the cops, if I'd opened the door instead. Would he have stood there grinning, tried to talk? Or would he have stepped inside, locked the door behind him, and made sure I could never leave? I don't want to know.
This ad, bro. That's so annoying. Alright. That first video was, it was a decent 6, 7-ish. Yeah. 6.7 stars. 6, 7. 2 days? How are you even alive at this point? I'm sorry for pausing, but how are you still even alive?
Making angry little noises like it was talking back to me. Broke, jobless, and one couch away from sleeping in an alley. That night, I was wandering the empty midnight streets, hoping, praying I'd find a miracle. Instead, I found a Five Guys outlet. It was dark.
I thought it was Cocomelon. Oh, it says 30 true unsettling horror stories. That was Cocomelon.
The sound of wood hitting a hard surface. It was coming from the back of the restaurant. I followed the sound, thinking some shady business.
Maybe Cocomelon is in this,
but realized it was the back door. Probably the staff who closed the restaurant forgot to lock it. The wind was making it swing. Clouds of thought crowded my mind. I stood there for a minute, debating. Morals don't mean much when you're starving. I told myself I'd just look. Maybe someone forgot a bag of fries. Maybe anything left in the freezer to eat to stop me from fainting. The door creaked slightly when I slipped in. The kitchen smelled like heaven. Grease, beef, something hot and real. The fryers were off, but the griddle still radiated warmth. I checked the freezer and leftover burgers wrapped in foil. There was even a jar of chocolate milkshake. It was like in search of stones, I struck gold. I unwrapped the burger and didn't care if it was cold. Just took a big bite. The meat poured life into me. I glugged half the jar of milkshake.
You must be that hungry.
My clothes running down my chin as I chugged too fast, but again, I didn't care. I was bloody hungry. God, I nearly cried. I was almost done with the burger and was about to leave when I heard one more noise. I'll call it a noise because it came from a human. A muffled whimpering of a man came from a distance. It was faint and coming from the storeroom. I should have left right then. I crept forward. drawn in like some idiot in a horror flick who just had to
You're
open the
stupid.
door. I eased it open,
He's
just a
just
little, and
stupid.
peeked inside. The storeroom was mostly in darkness, but there was one spotlight hanging from the ceiling. Under that light sat a man, tied to a wooden chair. His shirt was soaked with sweat and something darker. There was duct tape over his mouth. His eyes were wide and looked red from crying too long. I was thinking about who kept him here, when suddenly someone giggled in the darkness, and two women surfaced into the light. They moved around him and began dancing like kids playing house. Both wore nurse costumes that looked like bad Halloween knockoffs, all white but splashed with fake blood, or maybe not. One had short hair and a baseball bat in her hand. The other had messy curls. The curly one picked up a chainsaw and twirled it like a ballerina, as if she was completely harmless. The short-hair one took out her phone and started filming the man. Then, she whispered something in the man's ear, and he started crying harder. The nurse with the chainsaw giggled louder, seeing him cry.
Aw, don't be such a baby. We haven't even started yet.
She waved the chainsaw in front of his face, close enough for him to flinch, but didn't touch him.
Shh, don't fight it. I've put plenty of patients to sleep. You'll be no different. Scream for the camera!
The other chimed in, like it was a nursery rhyme. My heart was pounding so loud I thought they'd hear it. I started backing away. I didn't care about the burger anymore. And then, creak. The door, of course. Always the damn door. Both women stopped. The one with the chainsaw tilted her head.
Aw, look.
She whispered. Her grin stretched wider than seemed possible.
A new patient?
I bolted, didn't look back, didn't grab my half-eaten burger, just ran, out the back, through the alley, across the street. I didn't stop until I collapsed behind a dumpster 4 blocks away, lungs burning, sweat cold on my skin. Hours later, when my breathing finally settled and I came to my senses, I went to the police station, breathless, smelling like kitchen grease and fear.
What? That's the sound of police.
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the
The women, the chainsaw, everything. They checked the place but found nothing. No signs of forced entry, no man, no duct tape, no traces of blood, not even a damn fry out of place. They looked at me like I was tweaking. On the contrary, they warned me for breaking in and let me go. But I know what I saw. I didn't hallucinate it. I wasn't high, wasn't drunk. I know the difference between a joke and a nightmare. Those women were real. That man was real. And the worst part? They saw me too. This happened a week ago. Since then, I haven't slept right. I keep thinking I see them. In crowds, reflections, shadows.
It's been
Last
11
night,
minutes.
Someone slipped me a note under the door of the crappy
Still got 3
motel that
hours
crashed
and
me.
1 minute to
No
go.
envelope.
Oh
Just a
god.
folded paper, handwritten in red marker.
This is a long video.
Patients don't leave without saying goodbye.
I'm scared. Not paranoid. Scared. Who
Damn.
are they? Why 5 guys? Why the costume?
Damn.
The camera?
Damn.
Was
Damn.
it live streamed? Is there a video of that poor guy somewhere online with hashtags and laughing comments under it? And what if I'm next? Tonight, I checked out of the motel, cashed in my last favor to sleep on my friend Marcus's couch. He doesn't know what's going on, just thinks I'm down on luck, which I am. But it's more than that now. It's like I've stumbled into something dark and viral, something designated to be seen. They wanted an audience, and I gave it to them. I don't think they'll let me forget that.
Alright. That second story? 7. Nah, 7-ish stars. Yeah, it's pretty decent, I guess you could say. 7. Yeah.
You
Let's
love
continue.
building high-performing websites.
Dear that!
You don't love having to chase
Oh my
clients down for...
god, these are so annoying.
I've been a sound engineer for 20 years, but starting my own YouTube channel was
20
something
years?
I'd been putting off
Wow.
forever, until my
Damn.
girlfriend Sarah finally convinced me to try it.
Babe, you should totally do ASMR. Not like the whispery weird stuff. I'm talking real sounds. City noises, traffic, rain on windows, construction. You hear that stuff differently. I don't know, you could make it feel kind of cozy?
It was the exact push I needed. The channel was doing okay. After 3 months of consistency and hard work, I was getting the views and even managed to bag a few thousand subscribers.
Damn!
But I needed something different for my Halloween upload. It had to be authentic, to really capture people's attention. That's how I ended up in a cemetery at 2 a.m. with my portable recorder. The place dated back to the 1800s, full of weathered headstones and ancient oak trees, perfect for capturing that eerie nighttime ambiance my subscribers seem to love. I spent 20 minutes walking the winding paths, recording the rustle of dead leaves and distant cricket songs. I was enjoying the ambiance when I saw a woman in the graveyard. She was standing beside a granite headstone, about 50 yards away, perfectly still in the moonlight, clutching the marble surface like she was trying to hold herself upright. I figured she was grieving, but then I noticed her clothes, and a creepy feeling brushed onto me. Her clothes were dirty, and
God,
other
that's
than
absolutely
dust, she had
horrifying.
some very suspicious
Horrifying.
stains, which could be blood or
So far, this
something
is
else. Her
9
hair was
stars.
messed up, and she
Damn.
looked badly beaten. Hi, ma'am. Is everything all right? She didn't reply. Thinking she's some
It's probably more
homeless
likely
woman
a
under
ghost because he's in the
influence, I
cemetery,
minded my
so
business
yeah.
and kept recording. But as I got closer, I could see she wasn't just standing there quietly. Her shoulders were shaking. Thick saliva was dripping from her mouth, catching the moonlight as it fell to the ground. Suddenly, she started gasping, like she couldn't breathe. Ma'am, are you okay? I can call someone if you... Before I could finish, she began vomiting. And in that clear moonlight, I saw her vomiting blood. Thick, dark fluid poured from her mouth, while her eyes rolled back in shortness of breath. It splattered against the headstone and pooled at her feet.
Damn.
Soon, trails
Damn.
of blood dripped from
Damn.
her eyes, rolling down
Damn.
her pale cheeks. I was only a couple of feet away from her when the woman's head snapped toward me with a sound like breaking bones. Her eyes weren't human. I shrieked and turned to run, but she moved faster than any human could. She got to me in seconds and grabbed my shoulders from behind. Before I could react, she rotated me towards her. She tried to speak, but only blood came out. Thick, clotted chunks splattered across my jacket and face, warm and reeking. The smell was indescribable, like rot and iron. I screamed and yanked my arm free, tearing skin against her grip, but she was relentless. Her other hand shot out and wrapped around my throat, squeezing until my vision blurred. My legs kicked uselessly beneath me, scraping against broken stone and damp earth. Then, with a guttural sound like a dying engine, she lifted me off the ground and hurled me across the cemetery. I toppled over the grass hard, but didn't stop to think or scream. I bolted straight out of the cemetery, like hell itself was chasing me, crashing through bushes and stumbling over headstones until I reached my car. I couldn't stop shaking until I got home, where Sarah was still awake, editing photos on her laptop.
How did the recording go?
I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. She looked pale, but I could tell she didn't believe me fully.
We should go back in the morning. In daylight. See what's actually there.
I didn't want to, but she was right. If there
Yeah.
really was something wrong, if someone was hurt or sick, we needed
She
to call
is.
for
She
help.
definitely is.
We drove to the cemetery the next morning at around 10. I found the headstone easily enough, though it looked less spooky in the daylight. There was no sign of bloodstains or anything suspicious. The name carved into the granite nearby read Margaret Holloway, 1962 to 1995, beloved wife. An elderly man was tending nearby graves. Sarah asked him about Margaret Holloway. "Oh, you heard about Maggie," he said, leaning on his rake. "Poor soul. Her husband poisoned her back in '95, mixed bleach into her food over several weeks. She died a painful death, vomiting blood as her organs failed. My blood went cold. Locals say her..."
So what I said earlier in the video, I was right. She is a dead ghost.
The old man continued.
Kind of, yeah.
"Folks have seen her here at night, sick and suffering, just like when she died. Of course, most people don't believe in that sort of thing anymore." Sarah drove us home while I sat in the passenger seat, trying to process what had happened. I couldn't explain what I saw, but when I checked my recorder later, it had captured everything. 23 minutes of ambient cemetery sounds, then 7 minutes of gutturals, gasps, and chokings. For a second, I considered calling the police, but what would I even say? That a ghost attacked me? They'd think I was insane. I deleted the file, determined to put it in the past. I still make ASMR videos, but nothing involving graveyards or supposedly haunted locations. Some experiences aren't worth the content, and some sounds shouldn't be recorded. Sometimes I think about Margaret Holloway, trapped in her final moments of agony, reliving her death night after night in that cemetery. I wonder if she was trying to tell me something, or if she was just lost in her own endless suffering. Either way, I never want to see her again, but I do hope her soul finds rest someday.
Damn. 11.7 stars. Oh, you guys thought it was out of 10, but nah. It's out of 12 stars. Damn. Damn, son. Damn.
The doorbell
11.7 stars. Damn.
Halloween night. I know because I checked my phone, thinking it was some drunk idiots pulling pranks. I swear, I was ready to report them this time, but when I looked through the peephole, my heart nearly stopped. He was standing on my porch, smiling that warm smile I hadn't seen in over a month. I yanked the door open and threw my arms around him.
Dad, what are you doing here? Why didn't you call?
"I just missed my baby girl," he said, hugging me, but his skin felt cold through the jacket. And when I pulled away, I noticed how pale he looked. He was nearly gray.
Are you feeling okay? You look...
"I'm fine, sweetheart. Just tired from the long drive. How about we make some of that mac and cheese you used to love?" We spent the next hour in the kitchen, laughing and talking. Dad told me all about fresh investments, Mom's garden, and roasted my ex-boyfriend like he had personally offended him, which he did. But even through the normalcy, I could feel it in the air. Something was off about him. Dad kept glancing towards the windows, and every time a car drove by, his whole body would tense up.
Dad, seriously, what's wrong? You're acting weird.
"There's nothing wrong, Princess." Suddenly, the doorbell went off. Dad's face went white as a sheet, like someone had drained all the blood from his body. "Don't answer that," he said, before I could step down from the stool.
What? Why not? It's probably some drunk...
"Whoever's out there wants to hurt you bad. Don't go near that door, Camilla." The doorbell rang again, and this time it didn't stop ringing. Suddenly, there was pounding and rattling, as if someone was trying to pull the door off its hinges. Whoever it was, they were extremely desperate to get in.
Dad, lay low. I'm calling the cops.
"They won't make it in time. Go to the basement
So
now."
far, this seems like creepy.
I'm not leaving you alone to...
Before I could finish the sentence, the living room window exploded. Glass shards flew everywhere as this guy in a torn hoodie climbed through, holding a crowbar that
FBI, open
like a
up.
blade. His eyes were wild, darting around the room like a cornered animal. "Nobody moves!" he screamed, waving the crowbar. "I just need a place to hide." Before I could react, Dad grabbed my arm and shoved me toward the basement door. His grip was impossibly strong. stronger than I even remembered. Go hide! He pushed me so hard I stumbled down the first few steps. The basement door slammed shut behind me, and I heard the loud click.
Dad! Dad!
Yeah, it's a brand new day, and that's a brand new year.
I pounded on the door, but it wouldn't budge.
My
What
god,
happened
these
next
ads,
was the
bro.
worst 20 minutes of my life. I lay slumped
Sorry about
against
the
the
ads.
door, listening to hell break loose above me. Furniture crashed against walls.
Worst
Glass
20 minutes.
shattered. I could
20
hear Dad
minutes of
shouting,
her locked
then the
outside
intruder
in the
screaming
basement
back.
while his dad's
My whole
fighting.
body was shaking.
My god.
All I could think about was that crowbar in the guy's hand and my dad up there alone. Dad was 52, had a bad back from years of construction work, and this maniac looked young and desperate. What if he killed him?
52.
What if I were listening to my father die and couldn't do anything to help?
Please, God. Please don't let him hurt my dad.
I whispered over and over, tears streaming down my face. The sounds got worse. There were even more crashes, something that sounded like a body hitting the wall. I pressed my hands over my ears, but I could still hear everything. Then came that ear-piercing shriek that made my blood freeze. It didn't sound human, more like an animal being sown. Furniture was overturned. There was glass everywhere and blood splattered on the walls. They found the intruder curled up in the corner, rocking back and forth and babbling about fiery spirit. He broke into the gas station down the street first, one of the officers explained. Then came here looking for somewhere to hide. Lucky you were smart enough to hide in the basement. Probably saved your life.
Dad! Where's my dad? Where is he?
I sobbed. The cops
200
looked confused. Your dad? Ma'am, there's no one else here.
But he was here.
Even though it was
We
his
were
dad's
talking in the
idea, but
kitchen
still.
when that guy broke in.
Ma'am, we've searched the whole house. You're the only one here. That's when my phone rang. It was Mom.
Camilla, we've been trying to call you. Your father. He had a heart attack at work tonight. He's gone, baby. He died at 1:30.
The phone slipped from my hands, clattering on the floor. 1:30 a.m., an hour and 17 minutes before he'd shown up at my door. The cops were staring at me now, probably thinking I was in shock. One of them picked up my phone and handed it back to me. Your mother wants to talk to you, he said gently. I looked around the destroyed living room, at the blood on the walls, at the intruder still muttering about seeing a dead man.
He came to protect me.
I gulped. Even in death, Dad had kept his promise to always be there when I needed him. The intruder was still raving about the ghost he'd seen, about how the old man had appeared out of nowhere with eyes that looked right through him. The cops thought he was having a psychotic break, but I knew better. Dad had come home one last time to save me. Dads will do anything for their kids, and not even God can intervene.
Stuck for love for the last part, but oh, that was freaky. That was a decent 11. No, wait, that was the good one so far, the best one so far. 12 stars. 12 stars.
The park was supposed
Wow.
to be empty at this
12
hour,
stars.
except for those rusted swings creaking in the wind, and that one flickering streetlight that cast everything in sickly yellow. But there he was, sitting on the picnic table under the pavilion, completely focused on whatever he was doing with his hands. At first, I thought he was dealing drugs. The way he kept checking over his shoulder nervously screamed illegal activity. But as I got closer, I realized he was whisking something in a small bowl. He looked up and our eyes met. Most people would have been embarrassed, caught doing weird stuff in public. Not this guy, though. He beamed like he reconciled with an old friend from school. Perfect timing, he clapped. I was just about to begin the ceremony. Everything in my gut told me to keep walking, but he seemed harmless enough. A middle-aged weirdo, sporting a cardigan that almost every American dad donned to church. Ceremony? I asked, stepping closer. The matcha ceremony, It requires 2 people or it brings terrible luck. He gestured to the empty bench across from him. Please, I've been waiting so long for someone to share this with. I don't know, man. I should really get home. His smile faltered, and desperation flickered across his face. Please? You don't understand. I can't do this alone. The ceremony has to be shared or she won't forgive me. She? I glanced around the empty park, but we were completely alone. A small cup of matcha, he pleaded. That's all I need. I didn't want to be rude. Besides, he looked fragile and really in need of some company. I joined him. The bench was cold and damp, and the air reeked of rust, like wilted petals steeped in metal. He had all the equipment precisely laid out. There was a bamboo whisk, a black ceramic bowl, and even one of those little scoops for measuring powder. My mom taught me this, he said, beginning to whisk again. Every morning for 23 years, we shared matcha together. It was our thing. Passed recently? I asked, trying to be polite. 3 months ago. His whisking never paused. Lost to cancer. But she made me promise that I won't stop the ceremony. The tradition must not die with me, Marcus, she said. Those were her last words. Marcus. Now I had a name to go with the increasingly bad vibes radiating from this guy. He finished whisking and carefully divided the matcha between 2 bowls. The matcha looked too bright, almost glowing. He slid one to me. Together, he said, raising his bowl with both hands.
Don't eat it from someone you actually don't know. I'm sorry, but I don't know if this guy literally knows this guy.
1,
so
2.
don't eat
I
food
lifted
that was
the bowl
made
as well.
from people that you
The steam
don't
carried
know.
a bitter,
Okay?
earthy smell that reminded me of soil after rain. 3. We both sipped at once. The moment it touched my tongue, my soul shivered. This wasn't matcha. It tasted scorched, like dirt scraped from a fire pit. Grit clung to my teeth while the ham and cheese burger churned in my gut. I spat it out, coughed, and did everything to rid myself of the bitterness coating my mouth like ash. While Marcus burst into manic laughter, the sound ricocheted off the empty. His shoulders convulsed as he doubled over, still clutching his bowl, oblivious to the grit coating his tongue. I stared at him, stunned. Ugh! What the hell was that? I demanded, wiping my mouth with my sleeve.
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do whatever you want.
Instead of answering, Marcus reached into
Lord
a duffel bag I hadn't noticed before and pulled out a brass urn, the kind you see at funerals. There was a small plaque on the front that read, "Beloved Mother, Emily." She wanted to remain part of the ceremony forever, Marcus said between fits of laughter. So, I made sure she could, every time I sipped matcha, just like always. The taste in my mouth suddenly made horrible sense. I lurched to my feet, but my legs felt weak. Did you put her ashes? What the? Are you insane? I'm devoted, Marcus shrieked, unscrewing the top of the urn. 23 years we did this together, dude, and now you get to be a part of it too. He tilted the urn and poured gray ash directly into his mouth, chewing and swallowing like it was candy. Ash spilt down his chin, coating his cardigan in chalky dust. He was making these awful choking sounds, but he kept shoving more handfuls into his mouth. I miss you, Mommy, so much, he gasped between mouthfuls. I fumbled for my phone. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely punch 911. Marcus was vomiting now, ash and spit foaming at the corners of his mouth. His eyes had rolled back, showing only whites. 911, what's your emergency? There's a man in Riverside Park, I whispered, backing away from the table. He's eating his mom's ashes. He's choking now. Oh, God, he's... Marcus suddenly went completely still. For a moment, I thought he was dead. Then his head snapped up, and he was staring directly at me, with ash-covered teeth bared into a sick grin. "Your turn," he whispered. I ran immediately, but I could hear him behind me as he chased me toward the street. The cops found him sometime later, unconscious. He'd apparently slipped while holding the urn and cracked his skull on the picnic table. They said he was in a coma, that his brain had swollen from the impact. Lost his mother recently, the officer explained. His neighbors said he'd been acting strange since the funeral. Guess grief affects people differently. I haven't been able to drink tea since that night. Even coffee tastes like ash now. And sometimes, when I'm walking home late from work, I swear I can smell that earthly sweetness in the air. Almost half expecting to see Marcus sitting at that picnic table with his whisk and his bowl and his terrible smile, trying to share his matcha tea. The ceremony requires two, after all.
That was the second best.
I really
11.9.
charge money for my
11.9
next
stars.
semester tuition.
Alright, let's
So,
continue on the
a
video.
woman named Mrs. Henderson commented on my LinkedIn open to work post.
Number 6.
Offering $300 for a weekend babysitting gig. I jumped on it. It seemed perfect, honestly. 2 days watching one kid while she attended a work conference out of state.
Tommy's grandmother will be here Sunday morning.
Mrs. Henderson explained when I arrived Friday evening. I noticed a bruise on her forehead. A chunk of blood was clotted on the side. Her eyes were too still.
You just need to get through Saturday night. My son is quite easy to manage.
Tommy was this 8-year-old kid who was mentally too. It was weird to watch Mrs. Henderson speak to him in a baby voice and have him in pull-ups. Even his bedroom was set up like a nursery with a crib and a changing table. She said he had severe developmental delays from a childhood accident.
He loves his shows.
She told me, pointing to the laptop.
Cocomelon keeps him perfectly calm. Just put it on whenever he gets fussy. And don't let him stay up past his bedtime.
Tommy sat in his oversized high chair, staring at me with pale blue eyes. Mrs. Henderson left around 6 p.m. The first few hours were fine. Tommy watched his shows and ate his dinner without fuss. During cartoons, I caught him chuckling and singing along, despite having hardly uttered a word to me the whole time. I sat down on the couch, texting my boyfriend, when I looked up and found Tommy staring at me. His gaze had this eccentric look, like he wasn't 8 but 18.
What? Do you need anything?
He didn't answer, just clapped like a baby and said, "Boo-boo, boo-boo." I frowned in annoyance, seeing a big boy mimicking a baby. Some mothers just love spoiling their kids, I thought. Suddenly, he started getting agitated, rocking back and forth, making those gurgling noises. He started throwing his food around the floor. When I couldn't stop him, I used the only way known.
Wanna watch Cocomelon, Tommy?
His eyes lit up immediately, and
Here comes Cocomelon. I know in the beginning of the video I said that this is gonna be Cocomelon, but turns out it was not Cocomelon. Instead, 30 unsettling videos.
for a second,
It's okay. It's technically okay. I got fooled by the freaking thumbnail of the video. So
Baby
yeah.
appeared on the huge flat-screen TV, singing in that high-pitched voice. Within 20 minutes, Tommy was asleep in his chair. I tucked him in his crib and closed the door. The house drowned in peaceful quiet.
I'm gonna go get some water.
I grabbed myself a popsicle
Alright, gotta go get some water.
and watched TV. An hour might have passed, but when I heard the faint Cocomelon lullaby playing softly upstairs, I didn't see any device in Tommy's room. So how come Cocomelon is playing upstairs? I climbed the stairs slowly. The nursery door was cracked open. Through the gap, I could see Tommy sitting up in his crib, rocking side to
Just
side
getting
in the
thirsty.
dark.
Just getting
He was
thirsty.
singing along to music that had no sense of being there. Rock-a-bye baby in the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. I pushed the door open wider. Tommy turned to look at me, still rocking. His eyes reflected the hallway like an
Fucking
animal's.
embarrassing hearing an
When he
8-year-old
smiled,
kid.
his
What?
mouth
Probably
stretched
8-year-old kid.
impossibly wide,
Saying,
imitating the cartoon characters he watched. "Ruby's awake," he said, licking his lips. "Tommy wants Ruby asleep." My hand shook as I flipped on the light.
Tommy, you should be in bed.
"Tommy is in bed," he giggled. "Ruby
where do
should
I
come
begin with
play.
these ads,
Grandma
bro?
won't be here for
I
hours
can't
and
afford YouTube
hours."
Premium. I'm
His
not giving money
eyes
to
were
YouTube Premium.
hypnotizing. He knew exactly when his grandmother was coming back. Mrs. Henderson had been lying about his condition.
I think you need to go back to sleep.
I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Tommy climbed out of his crib with fluid-controlled motions. "Tommy doesn't want to sleep. Tommy wants to play games. Fun games." I shrieked and stumbled as Tommy crawled toward me like a spider. His eyes were hypnotizing. "Does Ruby want to play hide and seek? Tommy loves hide and seek. The last babysitter loved it too."
The last babysitter?
His smile got wider. "She's still playing. Want to see where she's hiding?" I backed toward the door, but it slammed shut behind me. Tommy giggled, and it sounded like the Cocomelon baby laugh played in reverse. "Don't leave, Ruby. Tommy gets lonely when Mama's gone. Tommy gets angry." He grabbed a stuffed animal from his toy box and tore its head off, spilling its stuffing all over the place. "Tommy did that to the last babysitter, too. She didn't complain. Want to see?" He pointed under his crib. In the shadows, I could make out what looked like a head of a woman resting on the floorboard. Suddenly, she opened her eyes and blinked at me.
That's freaky.
I lunged
She's still
for the window,
alive?
but Tommy moved
How's that?
faster than any child should.
Ain't no way
His
that
soiled
is possible.
hands grabbed my
She is
ankle
still
with
alive.
impossible
Head
strength.
chopped off.
"Stay and play,
And she's
Ruby.
still
Tommy loves
alive?
you. We
Okay.
can watch Cocomelon
That's
together
freaking
forever and ever." His grip tightened, and I felt something sharp dig into my skin. His fingernails had grown into claws. I kicked as hard as I could, connecting with his face. He let go with a shriek that sounded demonic. I grabbed the desk chair and smashed the window, cutting my arms as I climbed through. I fell into the bushes below and ran to my car, not looking back until I was 3 blocks away. When I finally caught my breath, I called the police. They gave me a chilling backstory about the house. Months back, a mother and her young son lived there. She was no ordinary woman. People whispered she practiced rituals, using her own child as a medium to cure sickness. They said she would summon dark spirits and latch them inside the boy's body, forcing him to endure their torment. Neighbors often heard his screams piercing the night, cries so raw they rattled the walls. To muffle the horror, the mother would play a soft lullaby, her voice drifting through the house until the child's wailing quieted. But one night, it wasn't the boy who screamed, it was her. By the time neighbors rushed inside, she was sprawled on the floor, lifeless, her eyes gouged out as if ripped by unseen hands. The boy was gone, vanished into the darkness, never to be seen again.
So that was her ghost in the beginning of the story.
When Dad got transferred
Okay.
and we ended up in the quiet corner of Santa Fe. It wasn't bad, just extremely
That was a
hush.
decent 10.
It was a
10
Halloween
stars. Wow,
night,
that
and
was
I was out
decent.
with my friends
Decent 10.
Mateo and Asher, hitting porch after porch until our pillowcases were dragging. By 9, the little kids had cleared out. The streets were quiet as we ducked into the park to sort through our haul before heading home. "Bro, the one with the full-size Snickers is king." Mateo grinned. Already halfway through his second. "He ain't king until we hit every house," I said, nodding toward the one across the park. It sat alone without any jack-o'-lanterns or cobwebs, just dark windows and a porch that looked like it hadn't seen a visitor in years. Asher shuddered. Ugh, Fred lives there. Nobody goes there. Why not? You don't know? Mateo leaned in, lowering his voice like he was about to spill state secrets. Fred's wife vanished a year back. Most folks think he buried her. What? Why? Susie was stunning and sweet, but way out of Fred's league. He knew that, and it ate at him. Always accused her of mess.
She vanished? Yeah. Why? Why?
Messing around with the mailman.
Okay.
Then
Yeah,
one night,
I know what you guys
he
are
did
thinking
something
now.
horrible to
He's
her,
gonna explain it
and
later in the
nobody ever
video
saw
why.
her again.
I
What
know
did he
why.
do?
I know he's gonna explain it in the
Town
little
people
video.
say
I was
Fred
just
went
saying that for no
crazy and
reason.
took
Okay.
an axe to her. You know, split her clean in half. Neighbors saw blood smeared on the windows and called it in, but when they searched the place top to bottom, they couldn't find anything. Fred swore she ran off with some guy. Asher added. I laughed and shook my head. That's bullshit. If the cops searched his house and found nothing, then nothing happened. It's just spook story. I'm serious, Asher insisted.
Damn.
Everyone knows Fred did it to her. Why do you think no one talks to him anymore? Okay, fine.
Hey. Language threat.
House. Mateo looked nervous. I stood up and started walking toward Fred's house. Come on, don't be babies. Up close, the house was worse. The paint was flaking off while the shutters dangled like broken limbs, and this smell was coming from somewhere that reminded me of the time a mouse died in our garage wall. I jabbed the doorbell before my nerves could talk me out of it. A few seconds later, Fred showed up. He was a very tall man with strong build. He had hairs that touched his shoulders and a creepy stare. He had this axe in his hand that looked pretty rusted. Fred definitely looked scary. Trick or treat, I fumbled, holding up my bag. He smiled slowly, then said in a deep voice, Oh, of course. Let me get you something special. He turned and vanished into the house, leaving the door half open.
Definitely.
The
Definitely.
buzzed overhead, and I could feel my smug little grin about proving Asher and Mateo wrong. Fred smelled weird and looked like he hadn't done laundry since last winter, but he was taking a really long time, like way longer than it takes to grab some candy from a bowl. What's he doing in there? Mateo whispered. Before I could answer, we heard Fred's low, muffled voice. He was talking to someone, but there wasn't supposed to be anyone else in that house, right?
Forget everything you knew about war games. The large-scale action game War Thunder will bring you a...
Maybe his wife didn't leave after all. I nervously chuckled. Asher crept closer to the door and peeked inside. His face
Oh my
went
god, these
white.
ads.
Guys,
These ads, bro.
you need to see
These
this.
ads, bro.
We crowded around the doorway and peeped into Fred's living room. We could only see a portion of the room where we could spot a dining table with lit candles and plates. Fred came back a minute later, carrying 3 king-size chocolate bars, the expensive kind that usually cost like $5 each. Here you go, boys, he said, handing them out. Enjoy. Thanks, we mumbled, but Mateo couldn't help himself. Are you having a party or something? We saw your table. Fred's smile got wider. Oh, that's for Susie and me. We're having a special dinner tonight. I felt my stomach drop. Susie? Yes, she's been waiting for me to start eating. Very patient woman. Fred chuckled. Would you boys like to meet her? Before we could answer, he pulled the door wide open so we could see the whole dining room. Sitting at the far end of the table was a woman. She was wearing this fancy dress and had makeup caked on so thick it looked like a ski mask. But instead of her eyes, there were just empty sockets filled with something dark and moving. I squinted a little, and what I saw made the supper swirl in my stomach. The sockets were full of maggots. Her skin was gray and stretched too tight over her bones, and her mouth was sewn shut with
She's
black
dead.
thread. But The worst part was her smell.
She's
It
dead.
was sweet and rotten, like fruit left out in the sun for weeks. Isn't she beautiful? Fred cooed. Just as gorgeous as the day I married her. She never ages, never complains, never tries to leave me for other men. We screamed, loud enough to wake up half the neighborhood as we bolted faster than we'd ever run in our lives, across the park and down the street until our lungs burned and our legs gave out. When we were almost near my house, we stopped to breathe. Asher and Mateo were staring at me with horror. I couldn't believe what just happened either. We never told anyone what we saw. Who would believe us? And like Asher said, even if we called the cops, Fred would probably just hide the body somewhere else by the time they got there. Hell, he'd done it before. I threw away that chocolate bar without even opening it. My friends did the same.
I'll never forget the summer the GTA 6 trailer dropped. Everyone was talking about it,
Smart.
rewatching it
That's
100
smart.
times and speculating about everything
That was a
in the future.
decent 10,
But
10,
for my friend
10,
Tyler,
10, 10.
it became something
Decent
else
10.
entirely. See, most of us just laughed at the chaos, the neon lights, and the wild stunts. Tyler, he locked on to Jason, the male protagonist in the trailer. And I don't mean he liked the character. I mean, he became him.
That game took 10 years to 12, almost
At
12
first,
years
it was
for it to
harmless. He
release.
started dressing like
That's
Jason,
taking that long.
practicing
Then
the same cold
it's
expressions
just
in the
taking
mirror
it.
when he thought no one was watching. He hit the beach gym every night, lifting under the orange glow of the pier lights, pretending he was training for something. We teased him about it. He'd laugh along at first, shrugging it off, but it was clear he wasn't enjoying the joke. With each week, Tyler drowned in his dark, imaginative world. By July, he stopped talking about anything else. Jason wouldn't waste time, he'd mutter, or Jason always finishes what he starts. It was weird, but we told ourselves it was just an obsession. Everyone has a phase, right? I wish that was all it was. It happened on a humid night by the pier. The sand was damp from the tide, the air sticky and heavy. A few of us were hanging around, spotting each other on the outdoor benches and bars, drinking and talking trash. Tyler was there too, dead silent, repping weight plates like he was possessed. His arms looked almost alien in the dim light, veins snaking up, muscles twitching with every lift. His eyes would go wide like he was seeing something in the oblivion. I thought to tease him a little. Careful, man, you're starting to look more like Jason than Tyler. He beamed, like it was some compliment. I teased him a bit more, thinking it's harmless. But Jason still gets the girls, unlike you. Everyone joined me for a laugh, but Tyler just set the weight plate down and stared at me. I should have stopped right there, but I didn't. I grinned, reached out, and patted him on the shoulder, saying, "Face it, bro. You're just a wannabe in a game that'll never grow."
Damn!
Our laughter grew
Roasted!
louder. Tyler got up and faced me. I braced myself for a shove, maybe a swing, but instead, he hugged me. At first, I thought it was some weird joke. His chin pressed against my shoulder, and I felt his breath against my ear. But he didn't let go. His arms tightened around me. His grip got uncomfortably strong. Then he began whispering in my ears. I couldn't make out the words, just a fast, steady stream of sound, like some ancient mantra. Dude? I laughed nervously. You good? Suddenly, his hand slid upward. His thumbs pressed into my throat. I froze, disbelief rooting me in place. The pressure built in my windpipe and I gagged. I tried to push him back, but his grip was like steel. My breath hitched, my vision blurred. My knees buckled in the wet sand. I could hear myself choking, rasping. Tyler! What are you doing? His face hovered inches from mine, blank, focused. It was as if he wasn't even seeing me. He was merely following a script in his head. His eyes didn't look human. They looked evil. Help! Guys! I can't! Panic surged. My friends rushed forward, grabbing at him, yelling for him. They do. It doesn't look like madness. It looked like obsession, sharpened into something lethal. The cops couldn't find him. His parents said he left everything behind. Phone, wallet, even his bed sheets. Just gone. Like he'd shed Tyler entirely and stepped into Jason's skin. But here's the part that keeps me up at night. On quiet evenings, when the wind shifts just right through the palm trees by my window, I swear I can still hear his voice. That low, steady whisper right by my ear. The same one I couldn't make out that night. And I can't shake this thought. When GTA 6 finally drops, when the world ultimately gets to play Jason, Tyler will come back. Not to play the game. He's coming back to prove that he was never just pretending.
Never ask again. Log in now. Enter MU777-888 and 999 to claim all the
I swear on everything. What I'm about to tell you is real. I wish it wasn't. Honestly, I wish I'd never taken that damn shortcut through the alley. It was almost midnight when I was walking home. The streets were empty, just my sneakers tapping against the cracked sidewalk. I was walking past the dumpster when I saw something sticking out from the pile of garbage bags. At first, I thought it was just trash, but looking carefully, I realized the vibe from the Labubu's glassy eyes didn't let me ignore it. When I got home, my phone buzzed. I answered without thinking, and my best friend Kayla's roommate started crying over the phone.
Steph, Kyla's gone. The plane, it crashed. What?
My brain just shut down. Kayla, my ride or die since middle school, my other half, gone, just like that. I don't remember much after that. I locked my door, threw my phone somewhere, and cried until my chest hurt. At some point, I passed out, hugging my pillow. I don't recall the time, but I woke up to this faint sound, like a giggle. Initially, I thought I must have left my laptop open, playing some silly TikTok video. But no, my room was dark and dead silent. The laugh took place again. Slowly, I turned my head. The Labubu doll was sitting on my nightstand, but I swear I hadn't put it there. Its glassy eyes glimmered in the dark, and its mouth moved. The stitches were stretching, pulling apart like wet fabric. And then, in this voice that sounded like broken glass scraping against metal, it whispered, "Steffi, wanna play?" I screamed, but no sound came out. My throat locked up. I tried to get up, but my body... See you soon. I kicked at it, finally finding my voice.
Get the hell away!
But the doll began to grow bigger. Right in front of me, it started stretching, bones cracking, fur ripping, and body twisting like some nightmare origami. Within seconds, it wasn't a doll anymore. It was a giant. Its head scraping the ceiling, claws carving into the walls like paper. Its grin was now jagged, splitting its face wide open. I stumbled off the bed, backing into the corner. My heart felt like it was going to explode.
"She's waiting for you, Steffi,"
it growled, voice echoing like 100 ravenous dogs layered together.
"See you on the other side."
Grinding its monster teeth, the Labubu lunged at me. Its claws slashed at my chest. I screamed as blood sprayed across the floor. I tried to run, but the Labubu grabbed me by my leg and kept pulling. I suffered like a tiny prey, trying my best to get away.
"No exit, Steph."
The voice was right in my ear. I whipped around to see the giant Labubu standing over me. My chest rose and fell like I was suffocating. It slowly bent down to my level, bringing its face inches from mine. Its breath smelled like rotten meat.
"She screamed when the plane fell, Steffi. Do you want to scream too?"
My whole body went cold.
Let go of me!
I sobbed, slamming my fists against its chest. It laughed, the sound splitting my skull. Then it stabbed its claw straight through me. The pain was so real, so sharp, I thought I actually...
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view.
died. I gasped and woke up. I shot up in bed, drenched in sweat, my heart beating like a drum. My chest hurt for the rest of the night. The second the sun came up, I grabbed that thing with shaking hands, stuffed it in a bag, and bolted out of my apartment. I didn't even care if people thought I was crazy. I ran straight back to that alley and threw the bag into the same dumpster. As I was heading back, I turned one last time to the alley behind me, but instead of the Labubu, I saw a girl. She was standing near the dumpster with curious eyes, and it all felt like deja vu for a moment.
No, 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 no.
I whispered, sprinting forward. She reached in, pulled out the Labubu, and hugged it like she'd found a treasure. She walked away with it.
Hey!
That looks like Megan.
I screamed, waving my arms like a maniac.
She's dressed like
she
Megan.
While crossing
The
the
doll
road and
Megan
looked
doll.
back at me, confused. And then, bam! A bus came out of nowhere, horn blaring too late. It slammed.
She literally
into
looks
her.
like Megan
The
too.
sound, I'll never get it out of my head.
She probably is Megan.
Hit the pavement and didn't move again. The doll rolled out of her arms, landing in the gutter. I couldn't breathe. People rushed over, screaming, calling 911. I just froze there. From that moment on, I knew the truth. Labubu isn't just some creepy toy. It's cursed. I saw death follow it twice with my own eyes. First Kayla, then that poor girl. Maybe it chooses people. Maybe it feeds on us. I don't know. All I know is that I won't touch it again. And if you ever see one lying around, don't pick it up. Run. Just run.
I work at a marketing firm in Portland, and every Tuesday, I pick up my...
Hey, that one was decently scary. Alright, so that one was 11.8 stars. 11.8 stars. Alright. Gotta go get in the charger. Gotta go get my laptop charger. Gotta go get my laptop charger. Alright.
4-year-old niece, Olivia, from daycare. My sister Jess is a single mom and pulls double shifts at the hospital, so I help out when I can. Olivia is this tiny ball of energy who's absolutely obsessed with Cocomelon videos. That particular Tuesday was warm and sunny, with perfect park weather. Olivia had been begging to go to Riverside Park all week, and I, for once, obliged. I needed to decompress anyway, after the hellish morning I'd had with client presentations. The playground was packed with the usual mix of exhausted parents and screaming kids. Olivia bolted straight for the swings, already humming a Cocomelon song under her breath. I found a spot on a nearby bench and pulled out my phone to catch up on emails.
Look, I'm flying, Aunt Sarah!
Olivia called out.
In this legendary space MMO, the heroic acts and merciless betrayal.
Pumping her little legs in the swing. I smiled at her and was about to dart back to the screen when I heard someone humming Cocomelon. I looked over and saw a man sitting at the end of the same bench. I didn't see him when I sat down, hence had no idea when he got here. He wore some faded khaki pants and a button-down shirt. At first glance, he looked like every other suburban dad at the park. But then he moved closer, saying, cute kid.
Thanks.
I couldn't put my finger on what, but my instincts blared an alarm in his presence. He started dangling his feet just like Olivia. Coco Melon's the best, isn't it? My buddy JJ and I watch it together all the time. He's such a good kid. Always listens to Uncle Mark. I froze. Uncle Mark? Wasn't JJ a cartoon character? JJ loves the playground episodes, the man went on, eyeing Olivia with this unsettling grin. He's always so happy when he gets to play with new friends, especially little girls with dark hair like that. He pointed at Olivia. My stomach dropped. The way he said little girls made my skin crawl. I immediately grabbed Olivia and took her to one of the slides instead, far away from the guy. For a while, everything was normal. Olivia was mingling with the other kids, running around, while I followed her everywhere with my eyes. I looked back at that bench, and the man was gone. But then my phone rang. It was my boss, freaking out about a lost file from a server malfunction. I answered, and turned slightly away from the playground to hear better over the kids' screaming. The call lasted maybe 2 minutes. When I turned back around, my heart stopped. Olivia wasn't anywhere to be seen. I scanned the playground frantically. Slides, monkey bars, sandbox. My hands were shivering. Where could she be? A tiny muffled sob came from the parking lot, and every hair on my body stood in alarm. I squinted at the cars before I spotted him.
Olivia!
That Coco Melon creep was walking quickly toward the street, dragging Olivia along the way. Her tiny hand was gripped in his much larger one. She was crying, stumbling to keep up with his long strides, and looking back toward the playground with panic in her eyes. I ran, faster than I've ever run in my life, my legs pumping so hard I thought my heart would explode. Olivia saw me coming and started thrashing at him as they neared his car with black-tinted windows.
Hey, stop, you freak! Help! Help!
The man looked back and saw me charging toward him. He hurriedly threw Olivia in the back seat and was about to jump in the driver's seat when I tackled him from behind. The two of us went down in a tangle. Olivia scrambled out, sobbing hysterically, while I clawed at his arms and face like a wild animal. Hey, now, calm down, he chuckled, as if the whole ordeal amused him. JJ and I were just going to go home and watch some videos. You can come along, too. He was looking at Olivia, toe to head, and licked his lips.
My name is Olivia. I want to go home.
She screamed through her tears. Don't be silly, he said, trying to reach for her again, even with me on top of it. You're JJ. I know you are. I've been watching you play here every Tuesday for 3 weeks. You love the playground, just like in the episodes. 3 weeks? He'd been stalking my niece for 3 weeks, learning her schedule and planning this. Other parents had noticed the commotion and were running over. Someone was already on the phone with 911. Two fathers grabbed the man and held him down while I pulled Olivia into my arms. This isn't over, he said calmly as we waited for the police, his eyes never leaving Olivia's face. JJ and Uncle Mark are meant to be together. I have all his favorite episodes saved in my computer. Uncle Mark loves little girls, like you. When the cops arrived, they searched his phone and found exactly what he described. Dozens of downloaded Coco Melon episodes. But worse than that were the photos. Hundreds of pictures of children at different playgrounds around the city. All the little girls are around Olivia's age. They charged him with attempted kidnapping and stalking, but the damage was already done. Olivia hasn't watched Coco Melon since that day. She has nightmares about Uncle Mark coming to take her away. She won't even go to playgrounds anymore without having panic attacks. And me? I can't stop thinking about how normal he looked. How he could have been any of the other dads at that park. How he knew exactly when to take advantage of one distraction. I don't even want to think about what he'd do to the kids if he abducted them. He's in jail now, but there are others like him out there who who wear friendly faces and call themselves uncle as they plan to execute the unthinkable.
That was a decent 10.3. Wow. That one has also kind of a good message. Not to trust strangers. Kind of, in a way. Wait. Except, that girl didn't trust her. She was kidnapped. Basically being abducted. Well, she could have like, well, we don't know how she got like abducted. Like, we can only like assume that she was getting dragged by her,
I wasn't
and
even
not by
supposed to
like,
be
for
there that
example,
night.
let's say like,
Lori had
say
called in
she
sick
does
earlier,
kidnapper has
but
ice
then
cream or anything
management
like that.
texted
Like,
me
don't
last
trust
minute to cover her late
strangers.
shift. I
But
was annoyed, but I
you
needed
can
the
only kind of
hours.
assume
So I
that
dragged
his
myself through rain,
situation,
windshield
she
wiper
got ducked. So
slapping
not
uselessly
really,
against
but
the
yeah.
downpour, and pulled into the Five Guys parking lot. The storm was already
Story number
fierce,
11.
hammering against the glass doors, the lot shining with black puddles. Inside, the place felt like a hollow shell, fluorescent lights buzzing, grills hissing softly, and the red and white tiles reflecting the storm outside. Gina was at the register, half asleep from boredom.
Rough night to be here.
She said, giving me a tired smile. The rain pounded against the window so hard I thought the glass might crack. Customers trickled out one by one until it was just us, Gina and me, wiping down counters, checking the fryers, and trying to stay awake until close. At around 9:30, Gina started locking up. She went to secure the side door, then walked to the back windows. But suddenly, she stopped, staring at something. Or maybe someone. I saw her shoulders tense, her head cocked to the side.
God, this ad was so annoying.
She said softly. I frowned.
What?
Then, I saw her too. Standing just inside the doorframe, dripping wet, pale as the lightning flashing outside. Lori. Her Five Guys uniform clung to her like a second skin, her hair plastered against her skull. She smiled, but it was weird. Too wide, too stiff. Her lips didn't seem to match her eyes.
I came back.
She said, her voice flat and distant.
Car broke down nearby. Figured I'd finish the shift.
For a moment, relief surged through me. Maybe she hasn't been sick at all. Maybe she just wanted to make sure she didn't lose her hours. But as I looked at her closer, that relief curdled into something colder. Her movements were jerky and unnatural, as if she were a puppet someone was still learning to control. She dragged her feet slightly, leaving thin trails of water across the tile. And that smile, it stayed fixed, unblinking, like it had been carved into her face.
You okay?
Lori tilted her head.
Never better. Feels like all my problems are gone.
A chill ran down my spine.
What?
She stepped closer. I swear, the lights dimmed with her movement. Her wet clothes didn't drip anymore. The water just seemed to vanish into the floor.
You didn't cover for me.
She whispered, her voice suddenly much lower, rasping like it came from somewhere deep in her chest.
I covered for myself.
Gina backed away.
Tamara, something's wrong.
The air grew heavy, pressing against my lungs. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the walls, reaching for us like grasping hands. Then, with a harsh snap, the lights shattered, spreading glass everywhere. In the darkness, I heard Lori's voice, closer.
Sorry for being late.
The lights from the window, along with the sudden lightning, transported the restaurant into another world, and I noticed Lori standing right in front of me. Lori wasn't solid anymore. Her body shimmered like smoke, her face pale to the point of translucence. Her eyes were hollow, glowing faintly from within.
Lori?
I whispered, though
This is
I
so far
wasn't
pretty
sure
scary,
why.
isn't it?
She
So
gave
far
me
pretty,
that same
pretty
stiff
decent,
smile.
honestly.
I had an accident.
Suddenly, the storm outside howled louder, rattling the building. The windows slammed shut on their own. Gina screamed and ran for the back. I stumbled, my heart hammering as Lori drifted closer. Her face twisted, her smile warping into something pained, furious, and broken.
I died on that road.
I tried to move, but my legs felt like stones.
Blood on my hands. Glass in my skin. And no one came. No one helped.
She floated close. The glow from her wide eyes reflecting in the dark. Her fingers twitched, reaching for me.
I think she doesn't know that you had an accident,
They stretched too long,
buddy.
thin as wires, trembling with rage.
Sorry for pausing it, but correction,
Nobody
she
did.
could probably know,
choked
but
on air.
I don't think she doesn't know.
You're not real. You're not.
Her head snapped to the side unnaturally,
So,
the
yeah.
bones cracking like breaking sticks. She screamed.
I'm here.
We still got a decent 2 hours of this.
Reverberated through me,
It has been exactly 1 hour and 22 minutes since I started recording. Damn.
Shoving past the unseen wind that clawed at me. My hands fumbled with the lock, but somehow it gave way, and I spilled into the storm outside. The rain hit me like ice water, soaking me instantly. The storm howled, but it wasn't as loud as the wail echoing from the restaurant. Lori's voice, stretched and broken, chasing me into the night. I sprinted across the lot, my sneakers slipping on wet pavement, lungs burning. And then I found her car at the edge of the lot, right by the road. At least, what was left of it. The windshield was shattered, glittering shards scattered across the asphalt. The front of the car was crushed inward, the bonnet crumpled like foil. Steam hissed from the mangled engine.
It was a bad accident, isn't it?
Should have kept running. I should have never looked inside, but I did. Through the broken glass,
Why am I assuming because I'm assuming what happens because it's raining that her car was either going too fast, she either drifted in slip and crashed into the tree. Drive slowly, slow, even if it's not raining, slow. Just drive slow.
Blankly, lifeless. My stomach lurched, bile rising in my throat. Then, her head moved. Snapping up with a sickening crunch, her ruined face turned toward me. As her lips drew into that rigid, overly broad smile, blood trickled down her chin. Lightning cracked overhead.
I told you.
She rasped. Her mutilated hand twitched against the window, fingers dragging across the glass in slow, deliberate lines. I screamed and ran, the storm swallowing me whole. But her words followed me, stuck in my skull, replaying over and over. After that night, I left my job at Five Guys. Gina called 911, who took away Lori and investigated her accident. I didn't follow up. I want to forget that night and everything that happened. But I do hope she finds peace. I've been collecting horror stuff for 15 years. And yet, to date, nothing has ever hit me like the Freddy Fazbear
12
animatronic I bought at Grimwood Auction
stars.
last
Oh
month.
my god.
7
Can you
feet
imagine if
tall,
this story
big
gets
and
12
furry,
stars
creepy
and
as hell.
story number
The Fazbear
12?
was perfect for my farmhouse collection. Just a heads up, man.
Oh god,
Things
these
get
ads are
bad
so
this year.
annoying, man.
Came from a pizza place that shut down right after they bought it. The auction guy told me as we signed the papers. I
15
laughed.
years? Wow.
They all have stories. Help sell them, right? 12 grand.
Oh, this story's about Freddy
The
Fazbear!
delivery guys had trouble getting it through my front door.
Damn,
The
that's
thing was heavier than
horrifying.
it looked. We wedged it into the corner of my living room by the window somehow, where it sat through the day with its mouth hung open and this permanent grin, and those eyes that seemed to follow you around. That evening, a storm hit. Heavy rain hammered the windows. Wind tore through the trees. By dinner, I'd lost cell service. The isolation didn't bother me, though. It was part of the reason why I had bought the house in the first place. Around midnight, a loud crash woke me up. Sounded like a tree fell, but as I listened, something felt wrong. The house had gone dead quiet despite the storm outside. I grabbed my phone's flashlight and went
Thunder,
downstairs.
thunder,
The living room
hear the
looked
thunder.
different. It took me a second to
Lightning and a
realize why.
thunder.
When I did, my stomach dropped. The chair where Freddy sat was empty. I swept the flashlight around. Looking for where it fell. Some old animatronics have backup battery packs that can last for hours. Maybe the storm triggered something and it moved a few steps. Before I could figure it out, I heard music.
Freddy is moving.
Happy Birthday
Well,
played
Freddy
in
could
tiny
have a
mechanical
battery,
tones, but
though.
skipping notes. Who's
But
that? I said.
it could be
then
either
felt
dead or
stupid for
he doesn't have a
touching myself.
battery at all.
I followed the sound down the hall. As I turned the corner, a shiver ran down my spine. Freddy Fazbear was standing upright, staring at me with those glassy eyes.
That was
now
literally my...
seemed alive.
That was literally
It screeched
kind of
in
my
a glitched voice.
point.
I ran for the front
Ruler.
door, and it slammed shut before I reached it, hard enough to shake the frame. The
Earthquake.
deadbolt turned by itself with a sharp click. Behind me, heavy footsteps thudded on the floor. The thing was coming after me. I ducked into the kitchen and crouched behind the island, trying to breathe quietly. This was insane. Animatronics don't just walk around. There had to be an explanation, but I couldn't think of one. Freddy found me in the kitchen. That broken song played on repeat. Happy birthday to happy birth. Suddenly, the kitchen lights flickered twice. Then, the bulbs exploded. My flashlight threw crazy shadows on the wall. I heard whirring sounds of gears turning. I peeked around the edge. The animatronic stood in the doorway, with its arms raised at weird angles. Its head tilted sideways too far. Its jaw opened and closed in jerky movements. It took one lurching step forward, then another. I pressed against the cabinet, trying to disappear. The thing was 6 feet away now. I could smell old fabric and machine oil. Its head turned left and right, scanning like it was hunting. Then, it looked down, and its eyes locked onto mine. Its jaw snapped shut with a metallic clang that echoed in the small space as it lunged at me. One massive claw hand swept across the counter, sending dishes crashing. I rolled sideways as its other hand slammed down where my head had been, leaving deep scratches in the wooden island. "Stay away!" I yelled. Freddy got more violent. The mechanical sounds got louder and more aggressive. I scrambled through the back door, but it beat me there. Its claws raked across my shoulder, tearing through my shirt and cutting skin. The pain was searing, but fear kept me moving. I stumbled toward the door in the dark. That broken melody started up again, but now there was mechanical laughter with it, like a broken carnival ride. The last thing I remember was falling backward, my legs giving out from terror. My head hit something hard and everything went black. I woke up in the hospital 2 days later. My neighbors found me during a welfare check after the storm cleared. I had a bad concussion, dehydration, and cuts that needed stitches. The police said it looked like vandalism. Kids probably broke in during the power outage. My house was a wreck. Furniture was overturned, and Freddy was gone, along with some other valuable
That's a slow
pieces.
motion falling
I
backwards
didn't believe
animated.
them. How do you tell
Kinda.
cops that a soulless robot tried to kill you? How do you explain to them that you found the backup battery pack later in your garage that was supposed to be torn out of Freddy's chest cavity? Cables ripped clean off?
Thankfully your
Everyone
neighbor
said the
find
battery
you.
was dead,
Thankfully.
completely
Yeah.
drained. Had been for months, according to the date sticker. So how did Freddy move without power? The police report mentioned strange electrical activity during the storm. Lightning struck the power lines 3 times that night. Maybe some kind of surge got into the house wiring, into Freddy's circuits. I don't know. What I do know is that the
I was
internet
right.
disappeared that night and never turned up.
I was right.
Not in pawn shops, online, or anywhere else. The insurance paid
My
out, but I
god,
never
these
bought
ads
another
are so
collectible.
frustrating.
Sometimes, late at night, I hear that broken melody in the distance. Faint, like it's coming from far away. I tell myself it's just the wind, or maybe a neighbor's music box. But I installed security cameras after that, and motion sensors too. Because part of me wonders if that thing is still out there somewhere, waiting for another storm to knock the power out, waiting for the lights to go dark again. And if it comes back, I'll be ready this time. I was 15, visiting my grandparents for the week before Halloween in Granger Hollow. It was this small town in the middle of nowhere, but my cousin Evan acted like he knew the place like the back of his hand, and
Alright.
had been hyping up this harvest fair all week.
Alright.
On Halloween night, we went to the
9.5.
fairgrounds on the edge
That
of
was
town.
so far the worst one
place
in the
was lit
entire
up with
video, but
flickering
decent
torches and
stars.
strings
No,
of lights
actually no, that was
around.
not the worst
It
one.
cast
But
everything
still
with
decent
eerie
stars.
glow.
Okay.
The air was thick with smoke from bonfires and the smell of hay and spice cider. I have to admit, the atmosphere was pretty sick. There were booths selling weird trinkets, hay rides through fake graveyards, and people in the most insane. Evan immediately ditched me to hit on some girls dressed as Disney princesses while I wandered around by myself, checking out the games and stuff. That's when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around and nearly jumped out of my skin. Standing behind me was this clown straight out of a nightmare. His costume was faded and patchy, like it had been rotting in someone's basement for decades. The makeup was thick and cracked, with this painted-on smile that was way too wide, while his eyes were these pale blue things that seemed to track the number of times I blinked. He was holding out a
Hey,
piece of candy,
yo,
some
son.
kind of corn syrup thing wrapped in clear plastic, but the wrapper was covered in cat hair and dust, like he'd pulled it out of a garbage can. "Want some candy, kiddo?" he offered, grinning.
Kinda looks
Took
like
a nibble of the
Pennywise.
candy and then back at his
Probably
face.
is.
The vibe around him made my skin crawl. "No thanks," I said, backing away. He didn't say anything else, just stood there holding out that gross candy as I turned and walked away as fast as I could. I found Evan by the haunted house. He was still trying to impress those princess girls. "Dude, there's this really creepy clown over by the games. Like, seriously messed up."
A clown? That's probably just Friendo.
One of the girls giggled.
Don't take
He's like
candy
the
from
town
people you don't know.
legend
Once
or
again.
whatever. Used to be the
Smart kid.
mascot of
Smart
this
kid.
syrup factory that closed down years ago.
"He's harmless, bro," Evan said, not even looking at me. "Just some old weirdo in a costume." But as we moved through the fair, I kept seeing him in my peripheral vision. He was behind the apple bobbing booth 1 second, and next, I spotted him standing next to the hayride or lurking by the bonfire. Every time I looked directly at him, he'd vanish. But each time I tell Evan, he'd just laugh and shrug. "There!" I grabbed Evan's arm and pointed. "See? By the corn maze entrance. He's giving me the creeps, Evan." Evan followed my finger and saw Friendo standing there, still as a statue, staring right at us. "All right, 'cause you're my cousin. Evan scoffed as he picked up a rock from the ground. Hey, friendo! Catch! He hurled it at the clown. I watched it smack right into his forehead. Blood immediately started running down his face, mixing with the white makeup. Friendo didn't scream or wince. He didn't even touch the wound. He just stared at us for another few seconds, letting the blood soak his clothes before he walked back into the crowd. Holy shit, Evan. Why did you do that? Relax, he'll be fine. But I couldn't shake the feeling that we'd just made a huge mistake. By midnight, the fair was winding down. Most of the families had gone home, leaving just teenagers and drunk adults stumbling around. Evan finally got bored trying to impress girls, and we decided to head back to my grandma's house. Instead of taking the main road, Evan insisted we cut through the cornfield behind the fairgrounds. It's faster, he said. The fog had rolled in thick, making it hard to see more than a few feet in any direction. The corn stalks towered over our heads, rustling in the wind. We were maybe halfway through when we heard the laughter, raspy and broken, like someone gargling glass. It echoed through the field from somewhere behind us. Did you hear that? I whispered. Evan stopped walking. Yeah. The laughter came again, closer this time. We turned around, and I saw a shape moving through the fog. He was tall and long, shambling towards us between the corn rows. Friendo! I gaped.
Work today is broken. We're all working in too many disconnected apps, and it's killing team productivity.
The blood had dried black on his face, and he was carrying something that glinted in the moonlight. As he got closer, I could see it was an axe. The dark blade was something that definitely wasn't rust. His painted smile seemed even wider now, stretching impossibly across his face. Run, Evan breathed. We bolted through the corn, stalks whipping across our faces as we crashed through row after row. Behind us, Frendo's
These ads are
laughter
so
got louder and more
frustrating.
excited. He was enjoying this. I could hear him
Sorry
crashing
about the
away from
ads. I'm so
behind
sorry
us,
about the
the
ads.
horrible giggling getting closer. My lungs were burning, and my legs felt like jello, but I kept running. This way! Evan grabbed my arm and yanked me to the right. We burst out of the cornfield and onto the main road, sprinting toward the streetlights of town. I looked back once and saw Friendo standing at the edge of the field, axe hanging at his side. He wasn't following us anymore. He just watched. The fog swirled around him like he was part of it. We ran all the way to my grandparents' house and locked every door and window. Spent the rest of the night huddled in the living room, jumping at every sound. My grandpa found us there in the morning, looking like we'd seen a ghost. When we told him what happened, his face went white. You boys stay away from the Harvest Festival from now on, he said quietly. Some traditions in this town are better left alone. I never found out who Friendo really was or what happened to him after that night, but I know one thing for sure. I'm never spending another Halloween in Granger Hollow.
I'm 15 years old and a sophomore at Lincoln High in Portland. My sister Leela is 3 years older than me and has been making ASMR videos since she turned 15, starting with simple whispering and tapping sounds that somehow attracted thousands of subscribers. By the time she hit 18, she had over 1
10
million
stars.
followers
Also,
and was
this is
making
the
enough
last
money to help our parents with the mortgage.
story of the
Leela
video.
made those
The video is
heartfelt
getting long
videos
enough.
where she
I'll make a
basically
part
acts
2
out
of
different
this
cuisines, recording
eventually,
sounds that
but
her viewers
this is the
secretly
last story,
found relaxing.
unfortunately, so yeah.
I never understood the hype, but our
15
parents were
years.
thrilled and acted like she'd made it big. Which is why they didn't hesitate when she asked for a private studio in the basement and stopped eating with the family altogether. 6 months ago, she brought home a fluffy Siberian cat and some albino rats for aesthetics. Leela would stay locked up in the studio the whole time. When asked what she was working on, she'd get this distant look and say, I'm developing content for a more dedicated audience. Her subscriber count was growing fast, too. Within a month, She'd gone to over 3 million subscribers. But soon, the sound started bothering me. I'd been hearing Leela's ASMR through the house for years, so I was used to the whispers and gentle eating noises. But these new sounds were different. The chewing was wetter and more aggressive. Sometimes I'd hear whimpers and tearing, like she was eating too aggressively. What kind of viewers enjoy this? One night, our parents had driven to Seattle for Dad's work conference, leaving me, Leela, and her pets alone for the weekend.
3 million subscribers? Oh my god, bro.
About having the house to herself.
3 million. 3 million.
That required complete privacy. I shrugged and disappeared into my room. A storm rolled in around midnight. The rain was pounding against my bedroom windows, and I was having trouble sleeping. That's when I started hearing the voices again. There were soft whimpers and slurping. I had to check. The studio door was open, and light was spilling up to the stairs. I could hear her soft giggles as the whimpers grew louder before fading away.
Little one, just a second longer.
I crept down the stairs just far enough to peep into the studio. What I saw has to literally be anyone's worst nightmare. Leela was kneeling in blood, knife in hand. Her arms and shirt were smeared. Skin and fur clung to her fingers like wet tissue. The camera was rolling, while the ring light cast a soft glow over the mess. The mutilated body of the cat was lying on the ground, and my sister was eating it. Raw meat dangled from her mouth as she chewed slowly, letting every squelch and crunch echo for her forum followers. Leela? I gasped, horrified. She flinched for a second, then slowly looked at me.
Damn, son!
Leela slurped, continuing to chew.
Come taste the heaven.
No!
I said.
Damn, why would you? Why would someone do this to their own? Why? I know this is violent, but I already show violence on my channel anyway, so yeah.
I started backing up the stairs, but Leela was already moving toward me. Blood dripped from her mouth, while fresh meat hung loosely in between her fingers.
They've taught me so much, you know?
She said, crawling towards me.
About angles.
Why would you?
Slicing.
That's just disturbing for
The audience. Here, this one's
people would do anything to get famous these days. My god.
Hoping I'll join her in this madness.
Sheesh.
She'd stop and giggle.
Don't be shy. Eat.
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where
I'm alone in the house, and if I had to survive, I need to play along. I sat down beside her.
If she stabs him, his parents are gonna be wondering where he gone, huh?
I immediately vomited on the floor. Leela laughed like a toddler,
No.
clapping her hands.
You're such a softie. Come on. Try again.
Leela offered a chunk of meat this time, but I couldn't stand.
Oh my god, these ads are so frustrating.
To the living room. I tried to head for the front door, but Leela was
Thank
faster
you.
than I expected. She grabbed my arm
I was
and
like-
dragged me back. Get off me! You've lost your brain cells! You're sick! I screamed, thrashing my arms and legs blindly. Leela merely giggled, as if my panic amused her.
You used to believe in me. What happened? This is the only thing that's ever made me feel seen. I'm not crazy. I'm finally alive.
I bit on her hand to tear free.
Now I wonder what happened to their other pets. Probably got stabbed and murdered too.
Right behind me. I grabbed a chair and shoved it between us. She stumbled, just enough for me to keep going. I sprinted down the hallway, right into our parents' bedroom. I reached for the lock, but she kicked the door with everything she had. It slammed into me, and we both went down hard. She landed on top. Her breath was hot. And
Obviously, he doesn't support you anymore.
in her hand,
Obviously,
she
bro.
was still clutching the knife she had used on the cat.
We could have had better footage. You ruined it.
She muttered, dragging the blade across my cheek. I opened my mouth to scream, but nothing came out. Terror had choked me clean. I could merely watch her raise the knife to silence my tremors forever. Just then, bright headlights swept across the bedroom window. Tires crunched gravel, and a car screeched to a halt in our driveway.
Jer, Lila? Baby, we're home!
Mom called out. Our parents had returned earlier than expected. Taking advantage of her distraction, I hurriedly shoved Leela off and scrambled back, gasping like I just surfaced from drowning. Leela didn't chase me this time. She just sat there, knife still clutched in her hand, frozen and full of madness. When our parents discovered the truth, they were horrified. Leela now lives in a mental institution. Last time I visited her,
Her parents
she was
saved
talking to the
him.
walls. I can't even recognize my sister anymore. Her obsession to be seen in the internet didn't just ruin her. It ruined our entire family.
That was 12 stars, yeah. Alright, so yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. It's been 1 hour and 47 minutes since I started recording the video. So, yeah, it's literally a very long video, and we still have exactly 1 hour and 39 minutes to go. So I'm just gonna read the list for the next video, which probably will probably be made like pretty soon or something. So yeah, honestly, this was literally a very good video, a scary video. I don't think people will mind spending 1 hour and 48 minutes, and because of all of the memes added to this video, all of the damn son will be added to this video. It'll probably make the video even longer, so probably people will not even mind spending that long of a video. Just, yeah. I started recording since I got here from school, like literally 3, and now it's literally 4:49, almost 4:50 p.m. Damn, son. Alright, so make sure to like and subscribe. This is so far the longest video of my entire YouTube career. Make sure to like and subscribe, yeah.